Hello, am I on mute?
You're not on mute and we are recording. So why are you
Oh,
pointing your camera phone at me? Stop it. You trying
uh,
to you trying to sell videos of me on the dark web? What are you doing?
can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. Why, you got
Oh,
some new equipment or something?
I just moved into a different space. So,
Ah, well, I see different artwork behind your
yeah.
head.
Huh?
I see different artwork behind your
Yes. Yeah.
noggin.
It's interesting things that go on in America. There's a place called the Flint Hills in Kansas, and every once in a while they set fire to the whole thing.
Did they do that?
Yeah, to burn out the weeds and fertilize and carbonize
Uh-huh.
and the big clouds and everything. And one day I thought I'd paint a picture of it. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah, so very entertaining. Highball.
Eyelash.
Ah,
Dun, dun, dun,
JD.
dun. So I texted you. I don't usually, I mean, I do have dreams and I do remember some of them, and some of them are more vivid than others. And I had a really weird one last night or this morning, and you explained it to me, Lucy, but I thought for the sake of people out there in Lee TV world who like to ride the frequency, um, I thought I would talk about it maybe a little bit. And I know that there's vocabulary that you prefer not to use, but it's the only appropriate vocabulary for this particular mm, occurrence, event. So I just remembered being in New York in the dream, and I didn't smell anything and I wasn't particularly afraid. I was just kind of bewildered and wondering like kind of what now what like, and it wasn't so what, it was now what, then what, now what. And as I was thinking that, I looked out the window and this slow moving craft of some sort that was level with my window, mind you, I'm at the 15th floor, just kind of floated by. And I looked in there and the driver kind of looked back at me and he happened to be Chinese and he just kind of was like, and I wasn't sure what all exactly that was. It was just very strange. And I had very neutral feeling about it other than it was vivid. So I texted you and I called you.
Well, you hit upon something right at the beginning. Um, when we go to sleep, the book War Day. Well, I have a book behind it called War Night, and it describes what goes on at nighttime. Because nobody ever talks about it in a way that I think is illuminating.
Well, helpful was the word that was coming to mind. And
Yeah,
honestly, it actually plays to something that you said last week. Where did I go? Where
yeah.
do you go? Where did I
Well,
go?
okay. Number one, when you go to sleep, you abandon your body, and you take your senses with you except the sense of smell.
That's what I
Okay.
was saying. Like,
Yeah.
why am I not smelling smoke with all of this fighting going on?
Yeah. So you're never going to be top chef in your dreams
Oh,
from Roma's standpoint. So, but you take the rest of your senses with you, and of course they're twisted sister, because they're operating in realms that don't include our full consciousness. Okay. So it's kind of like you're absent yourself, but having an experience. And the whole trip is to try to relate it to some reality so you can make sense of it. And we know what happens when you do that. You wake up in the morning, go, I had this dream, and then you cough or go to the bathroom, come back, and go, what dream? So, so experiences in life don't translate the same way that experiences in dream world do because they're different information density. How's that?
That makes sense. However, I've been on that couch and had the sun shining and just felt really relaxed and gone to a place where my
Yeah,
ears could physically hear here, but I was very vividly someplace else. And it
yeah,
was so real. So I
yeah,
wasn't asleep at that point.
yeah. No, those are they gave the name lucid dreaming to it. I have to think about that one. What started it all off with me is in high school. There was some kid, and obviously he was zoned out. That's another language. And I tapped him on the shoulder and go, "Hey, hey, hey!" And finally, he kind of like come back, you know. And I go, "Where were you?" And he goes, "Somewhere else." And I go, "I knew that. I want to know exactly where that was, right? Because I might want to go there too." So what we have is at a certain level an impossibility for two people to occupy the same dream at the same time. So, so, so when you see other people, you're literally assigning identity to them, if that makes any sense. So
Mm,
you can look at somebody and have a be triggered to the point that you recognize them as either yourself or somebody you know or somebody related to, and of course, in your experience, would allow you to relate it to any person, place, or thing in the universe.
mm,
Okay, so so when you do that, and then like you see the Chinese guy flying by on the airplane or whatever it was, is it's what I call a substitution cipher. You start substituting known things for unknown things in order to make sense of it. And then you had somebody like Freud come along and he said, this is how you make sense of it. And I think he was on the 7% solution and the 20% this and the 100% that because I don't think he had a clue. My opinion, right? In other words, dream is fantasy land. It's only relatable uh, subjectively. In other words, for me to experience your dream is almost impossible, but I might be able to go to that place, or somebody on the planet might be able to go to the same place you went to. So there.
okay, which is different from actively remote viewing, because there sometimes you can smell things.
Right. And there's one other little caveat. Apparently, autistic children or spectrum people have a place they can go to.
I was going to say
And
that. The telepathy tapes
yeah,
talk about that. Fascinating
yeah,
podcast if you haven't listened.
yeah. So what we're dealing with there is the information density of a particular place has been increased by virtue of your attention or awareness. And we know that that's possible because we assign significance or um, what do you call it? Sacredness to certain places because a bazillion people went there, like Chartres or Notre Dame or these other cathedrals around the world. And so when you walk into that presence, you're walking into an information field that's been conditioned. We say the field has been conditioned by the energy of the people that have come there or expressed an interest or chanted or did something, lit a candle, right? So we look at that, and then you have a personal dream. It's nowhere near that density unless it's a screaming nightmare, which is to produce negative energy. So one of the things, and you can have a positive dream. They're much less likely for some reason. But the key question, anytime you go to sleep at night, is, where did all my energy go? Where did my attention go? And those are valid questions that a person needs to answer. And they're ones I'm trying to answer in this next book I'm writing.
But
Okay.
wouldn't attention and energy be the same thing in that case?
No,
Because focus,
awareness is something, but an action is energy.
right?
Aware,
Okay.
awareness is consciousness.
And
So we
consciousness has no energy, it's just inert.
pretty much, right? Consciousness requires a substrate. We call it human or animal or plant or something. Okay. I mean, rocks have a certain degree of consciousness. We call them slow talkers in Native American tongue because it takes forever for them to communicate, right? A tree's a little faster. Uh, Animals are a little faster than humans are faster to communicate. That's the idea.
Would it make you uh roll your eyes? I'm not going to say, what if I were to tell you? Because I know how much you love that, but I feel like no. And I don't know. I'm like getting emotional. I remember being a rock.
Yeah. Yeah. If you take the reincarnation theoretically, you had to start at just like in the Big Bang, you had to start somewhere and nobody knows where that is. And then, since we have that as a starting point, we call that a closed set. In other words, you can't go beyond where you started. And because all that information is blocked, like you can't go back before you were born for most people. So we put a bracket on it and say, no, that information doesn't exist, or you're not allowed, or we call it Akashic records or all kinds of crap. But you can still track the information. But as far as assuming a full-blown memory, some people can, most people can't, right? So anyway, you got a closed set. You have a fixed starting point that somebody gives you. You were born on this day or whatever, and we know that's not true. Now, when you lay down at night, you exit. Everybody knows you're not there. You can poke them on the shoulder and go, "Hey, hey, hey," and we say they're dead asleep, right? And so there is some truth to that because you are absent the body, and that gets into my theory that when you're asleep, you're not human. So there.
Right. Well, that makes sense. If you're not in a human body, then how could you be defined as human? It's
Exactly.
impossible. There's no
Exactly.
way. There's no way.
So
There is no but I can tell you, and so can my uh person I chose to be with for a long time. If I'm asleep and you come in and go, "Hey, Leanne," I will jump out of my skin and then I will come at you like, "What
yeah,
the It
yeah.
makes me like, and I don't know if it's because I'm addicted to anger at some level or it just, I don't
No,
appreciate that at all.
no.
Jump out of my
It-
skin
yeah.
or jump back
Uh,
into my skin abruptly without it being I or what, you know what I'm trying to say poorly.
yeah. If you have some degree of awareness as you exit dreams, you will find yourself going downstairs or falling through the sky or something. And all that represents is a return to the body, which gives you some implication of time and distance. See, that's what nobody ever gets off into too much. But somebody one time asked me like, "Oh, well, how do you get back in your body if you're way over there?" And I said, "Well, you have a good friend with you. And once you're totally out of there, they take their hand and cup it a little bit and slap it over your navel. And
Oh,
you will instantly be back in your body. And you should set the world record for a 10-yard dash because they're going to be, like you say, mad as hell." And then we go, well, why is coming back into the body generate anger? Right? See, there's a
it's
trick
so
question.
much nicer when you're not bound by a human body that
Yeah,
has uh f- f- the physical experience that includes pain, not necessarily emotional pain, but that too. I think when one is in that other place, one can choose to be free of that if one is a if the awareness is like the lucid dream part. Uh,
Well, another thing is that, like Freud and the rest of them on dream theory, one of the things I liked, they said everybody in the dream is you, right? Well,
yeah.
that's not okay. Everything in the dream is you. And that makes no sense because we know there was a Chinese pilot in that aircraft and he didn't look like me, right? So
He
so
had
both
kind
those
of a
kind of
round
go out.
face and kind eyes. He wasn't mean.
Yeah.
It wasn't angry. It was just
Yeah. So what happens is that if I'm all those people, why do I need to dream it?
And why
So
do I need to dream it as a third party instead of
right. No, that's it.
seeing out the Chinese guy's
Yeah.
eyes myself?
Yeah. So the other theory is that it's the subconscious clearing itself. Okay. And the problem with that is it's inefficient and you don't have any control over it unless there's certain Tibetan meditation techniques and things where actually you go in and start being able to control the conscious, subconscious, unconscious mind.
Does angular motion come into it?
Um,
Because
there
doesn't
may
that
be there may be a spiraling effect when you leave or re-enter the body. I haven't pursued that yet in my book, but so anyway, dream states are very interesting. You're not human when you dream, when you're asleep, right? When you're passed out, when you're unconscious, when you're in a high fever. And the reason we know is because you're no longer interacted with the present or the present reality. That's one way to look at it.
yeah.
Yeah, mandalas, they're great.
Yeah, this is
So
well,
so
let me look
mandalas
up
and all these symbols and everything are just self-hypnotism. Self-hypnotism is a state that is not dreaming. It's a different state. Okay. So people who are hypnotized are in a different room in the house than the one where you're dreaming or the one where you're awake. They're all separate. They can merge and mix together. Those are called psilocybin trips and LSD trips and things like that. So
Mind you, I
everybody,
do have psilocybin in the house, but I don't use it. I don't
yeah, you just want to wave at it as you go by.
well, it's kind of in a jar. It's like, hi
Yeah,
guys, I don't
yeah.
know what to do with
Don't
you.
be talking to me, right? Not unless you read Carlos Castaneda or Nada, whatever it is. Nada.
I have not gotten that far, but the idea that plants are alive and communicate is not strange to me. In
Yeah.
in any definition of the word strange. Like I understand the idea. I know what I say to I talk to
Yeah.
my plants. Like
Yeah. I think it's funny. Yeah, it's my grandmother, you, you say things like, well, use this plant to, for your skin or stomach or something. And, like in science, I don't know what kind of trip they would get on to figure that out. But Native Americans would sit there with a plant until it told them what it did. Okay. It's like, why do you want to listen to a scientist when the plant itself will communicate what it's capable of in interaction with yourself? And
because that
so,
communication is strange to people who are materialists and the
yeah,
generations that have now compiled
yeah,
the dismissal of that or the fear of that and then the snuffing out of that.
yeah, they killed all the shamans for it because if you can communicate with the plants and animals and this, that, and the other, fear goes away, basically.
That's
So,
making me emotional now too. I don't know. Like I don't really have cycles like I used to. I'm not sure exactly what's going on tonight.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway, I give as an exercise, I would give people to there's tree exercises I give. I won't get into those right at the moment, but I give them, you find a plant and sit with it till it talks to you. And a lot of people use this psilocybin and things like that to kind of facilitate that, but no, 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 no. You sit there until that thing tells you about itself. And then here's the key. Don't get trapped. Don't let your consciousness get trapped inside the plant. See,
mm.
that's why you always had a mentor, a medicine woman, somebody that would keep track of you when you were doing these wild spiritual things.
I have a friend named Matt who I knew when I was a teenager, and I caught myself saying that's making me emotional too, but it's not because I want to say how I feel. It's just I'm just taking note of what's going on emotionally while you're saying things,
Yeah,
less to interject like, politicians. I'm not trying to do that.
yeah. I
Um,
tell people I learned that plants talk to you when I went to, I can't remember, it was Led Zeppelin, Inagata Vita, somebody. Inagata Vita, I think there's a line in there where they go, listen to the scream of the plants, right? Or scream of the butterfly. There we go. And so people go out there and smash flies and ants and butterflies and walk on plants and they don't hear the screams, right? That's sort of life changing when you get to that point. So,
yeah, I mean, once you see things in that way, it's hard to go back the other way again.
yeah.
It doesn't feel right and it feels empty and I I was thinking about something today. I was thinking about how all of these immersive experiences can be had, all these exhibits at museums that are this immersive experience. And I started thinking to myself, well, why? I mean, yeah, that's fun and all, but why would people need to have an immersive experience if they were fully living their lives immersively instead of being distracted in their life and then having to pay to go to an exhibit to be immersive? Like, what in the meow is the going
Immersion
on?
is
That's so messed. I and this is where I get judgmental. I don't do I mean to get judgmental? I don't even know. I'm just trying to be accountable for my being a female dog.
be, be
Um,
judgmental, right?
what the fuck is going on, man? This is insane. Why would people have to go pay to have an immersive experience if they're living life, and I will say properly and coherently? You wouldn't need that because life is the immersive experience. And then so is the dream. It's all immersive. Why?
Shout out the movie Shallow Hal explained it all.
Right. Everybody's so busy being shallow because they don't want to have feelings and then they pay money to go have immersive experiences. Like,
Right.
this is nuts. Like, what?
Let me tell you another aspect you're missing. Instead of saying all dreams are cells, let's say that all dreams are instructive at some level. Okay, and that's why we try so hard to remember them. But another aspect of that is when I was pursuing Native American knowledge and study. I mean, I got 500 books on Native American spirituality and stuff, but and medicine. But one of the things is like I used to have these medicine men show up at night and like I would open my eyes and they were there. It was not a dream state, but they were in that space that's normally occupied by things that are in dreams. How's that? But they were energetic enough to be able to serve as a mentor, as a teacher. So I had a White Mountain Apache teacher, shaman, medicine man, and he did snake medicine. I drew a picture. I've got to find it because it's the middle of the night, and I'm like, "Look, I'm tired. Can we do this tomorrow?" But I drew a picture, and he had a snake in each hand, and he fanged his arms, and then he fanged his face, and I literally reached over. I keep a notepad and drew a picture of all of it. And I woke up the next morning and went, "Oh, that's that guy that showed up last night." And then I've actually had a daytime, more or less what they'd call a dream experience, but I had White Eagles, who was a member of Washington tribe, and Little Crow was another mentor of mine. And so we're into an area where people think that, oh, all my teachers have to be physical people. No, they don't.
No.
They can have a what we call a non-local organized um, consciousness that has a presence in the field equal or greater than your own presence in the field, particularly when you're in a dream state, unless you have done exercises to be a really strong dreamer, we would say it. And this is not about astral travel. This is about finding information and intelligence in a way that's beneficial to you, one that advances yourself and advances your knowledge. And all this is woven into quote unquote Native American traditions and information that not really shared with white people. So people can, call me. So
I think it's also helpful if before you go to sleep, you either set some kind of an intention, you know, or
well, that's a conscious effort for something that occurs in a subconscious, unconscious, or non-conscious locale.
well,
So
for
it
me to
doesn't
let,
always translate. And we're again back to the problem of how much of your consciousness is setting that attention. How much are you you? And that's why everybody working on you have to be 100% yourself before you do any of this. In other
yeah.
words, recenter yourself, right? And
Well,
that's like War Night is about getting to that place where you can literally make utilization of your nighttime in the same way you do in your daytime.
well, the furthest I've gotten, like I said, is just trying to let the intention of letting go of my day and my thoughts and my personality and all of that and just letting it wash away into nothing before I go into my dream time.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I try to practice
yeah,
nightly. It helps a little bit.
yeah. I teach it as you practice the path of negation, which I teach before you can go to sleep,
Hmm.
before you can get in the bed. And by doing so, you literally kind of like start with a blank piece of paper when you get ready to go through the period from going to sleep to waking up.
I do the
Okay.
same thing in the morning and wash the night off, and then to start my day
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
this thing.
That's exactly it.
I
That's a ground.
bookend.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to, and I try to do things during my day that match what I've been.
Yeah.
I
But
try to
one
take
thing too, when
action
you're
like every day.
yeah, yeah, when you're in dream state, keep a notebook by, and if something is sufficiently intense in a dream state, write it down by the side of the bed. You don't have to have a light on. Just learn to write in the dark, like I did, and and put the pen down and go back to sleep. And you can jump in and out of a dream. You can like hold it right there while I make a few notes. I mean, that's what I
When you
do.
get good at it, I'm sure you can, you know.
Yeah, so that's the purpose of the notebook there. But then I go to sleep, and I've been thinking about like that General Mac or whatever his name was.
The one
The
who went
dis
missing,
Yeah, he's in one dimension, so he's not here anymore.
he's I,
And
that's
yes, yesterday Nancy disappeared too. So both those people are no longer in a corporeal form, we'll call it. And now what was interesting, there were three guys, I called them hashtag 27, 47, and 48 with a Nancy Guthrie thing. And there were three guys with General Mack when he left. And they were 30 years old, 30, 30 and 4 months, 30 and 8 months, and 38 years old and 5 months. There we go. So those are the ages of the people that were around them when they disappeared off the planet. And that's why I go 1 to 20. People are in like the young people born today are in about 20 dimensions. People my age are generally 16 or less. And then as you get older, you start shedding dimensions. And once you start down below 10, you're kind of on your way out of here. At 4, you're no longer in your body. And at 1, you're no longer on the planet. So there. So there's some similar process of when you go to sleep at night. There's some process of dimensionality diminishes. How's that?
Okay,
So
well, I was just going to ask you how many dimensions do you
when you
how many
when you were
dimensions do you diminish when you're asleep? If,
okay,
like, how
when you
many
were
dimensions am I in?
well, when you were in sleeping last night, you were in 4, and that's
Right.
pretty okay. And so remember, 4 is kind of like you're not in your body anymore. In other words,
Yeah.
your body now, and then you wake up and reassume 16, 18 dimensions, whatever. I'm at 25. I've been practicing all kinds of strange alchemy, we'll call it. But so then we deal with the transition times of getting out of the body and getting back in. I mean, there's all kinds of information here to go into, but so the average person leaves whatever dimensionality they have, and when they're out of the body, they're in about 4, sometimes 5 dimensions. The more dimensions you're in while you experience that sleep experience, the greater retrieval rate you have, right? Because the data is imported into more dimensional memory states.
Which is funny that
But
you tell me I
that,
was in 4, but I'm still remembering it right now pretty clearly what I was seeing.
yeah, well, you have memories that if they're emotional, the more emotional they are, the more locked in, the more available they are.
Mm,
And if because most of the time we have non-emotional sleep patterns, so that the actual dream state of experiential dream or universe out there only occurs like maybe for an hour or two. Okay.
mm.
The rest of the time, we don't even know where the hell. That's why I wanted to write uh, War Night, because I want to present all this to people so they know what to do with it. Most people go, "What are you going to do today?" Nobody asks, like, "What are you going to do tonight?" You go, "Well, I'm going to sleep." No, 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 no. There's a lot to do tonight, right? It's that learning that process is something I've spent years studying, and that's why I said I want to write a book on it. I'm writing a book on it, so
Good.
yeah. I mean, don't live half a life, right? Most people do, right?
Well,
Think about it.
have your own immersive experience. Don't pay money to go have somebody else's that they wrote for you so that you can feel alive.
Yeah, yeah. It's just such a fascinating subject that nobody explains. Like, how do you get into the dream state? How you come out of it, right?
They
Um,
try to.
yeah. What was the distance? What was the timing? Is it what I call geomorphic? In other words, we should be able to plot wherever everybody goes in dream state in a grid fashion to be able to revisit it or to explore it at a later time.
Well, who's to say it isn't the same or a similar place to where dead people go before they completely leave all dimensions or whatever it is that happens when they're not lingering anymore?
Well, when they're leaving, a lot of times you can get crossover where you're still they're still expressing themselves in more than four dimensions, we'll call it.
Mm,
In other words, you're capable of picking up, kind of like you have a sense that somebody wants to talk to you, or you should go somewhere,
uh-huh.
or time to buy a donut, something, right? So,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
Well, so I
Yeah.
mean, and all this stuff here, and so here, how does this cross over to people like I was listening to what's his name, Fugel, Brendan Fugel. I have to keep remembering it rhymes with bugle. What's that dude's last name? Rhymes with bugle. Fugel.
Mhm.
Brendan,
Mhm.
Skinwalker man guy. The guy,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the Skinwalker Ranch stuff and the drilling and the whatever, and it's just there's a crossover dimension, and they keep trying to flirt with it, and it doesn't seem like it wants to be bothered, and they keep poking at it. And
Well, they
what's wrong with them?
they
Why
may be
can't they just leave it
interacting, but
alone?
they're definitely not communicating. See, we're back to that. You
Right,
know,
there's a interaction and communication are two totally different things.
right. I can bump into you. That's an interaction. Until I talk to you, it's there's no communication. I mean, there's some communication, but it's too subtle for most people to pick up. So yeah, but all of those are fear based, or love based. People forget about that. Greer loves aliens, and aliens love us.
Why can't it just be neutral?
Because there's no money in that. Just ask Joel Osteen, right?
I think there probably is money in that, but I don't think people realize that if they deliver it properly, then there would be money in it. Maybe it's the delivery, maybe it's the transmission, maybe it's how the information, maybe it's what isn't being said that needs to be sold.
Right. Okay.
What?
So I got invited to go out to New Mexico because they were trying to find this treasure in this, buried cavern system. And I actually went down into it and all these things. But the reason they brought me out there and paid me, by the way, they only paid half. I'll take that back. They still owe me money. But anyway, the problem was is there were native spirits still inside that cavern because they'd been locked in there and killed. And I told them, you have no business going in that cavern because you can't talk to them. And it would definitely be something you want to ask permission before you go into areas that you don't belong, because there can be a psychic backlash to interactions that you're not prepared for. So I sat down on top of this cavern system and started asking questions like, how many people are there? 17, right? 18. And how long you been there, and what were the conditions, and who did what to who, and what language did you speak, and how long were you in the area? And I come out of it and go, by the way, there's a what do you call Pueblo or some ruins about 18 miles out of the way, and I gave them the distance and stuff. And we drove out there and found the ruins later. So I'd not been in that area in New Mexico. How did I know that? Well, I communicated. Okay. And that was a great thing about contact. Contact was about Jody communicating with somebody that was willing to communicate in a language and form that we could understand. And unless you can talk to spirits kind of like in their own language and own, I don't even know what to call it, rhythm, right?
Or one-armed jacks, you talk to
Yeah.
those too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There, I love the advancements in AI and stuff because I'm going to tear them up in the casinos the more advanced they get. And all you got to do is be able to communicate with them. Like I said, I do that. And I've been rewarded for it. So, so anything that has energy flowing through it is alive. There we go. Okay. And once you understand that, then you can kind of get in the flow of it all. I mean, springtime is something. It's kind of like being loud out there in nature. Okay.
I'll tell you what, though, today I was smelling the air. It got warm here, and they said, oh, it's going to be super thick fog and be careful driving, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Um, and I did notice some fog last night as I was going to sleep. It was a little weird. Um, but the air coming in didn't smell like spring. It smelled like autumn. And that just messed with my
Yeah.
head. Why would springtime smell like autumn? I don't think
Well, there's more than four seasons, number one,
mm,
and they're all accompanied by a change in direction of the energy flow, right?
mm,
And so you can pick that up. They're like we always smell winter. We smell it days before it's going to
yeah.
occur. My grandmother was what I call a cloud shaman, and she would look at the sky and or take a deep breath and tell you when it was going to rain or what was doing what, or literally what was going on around the world. She just saw that information that we call the cloud is actually true. And of course, like I said, Mick Jagger figured that out a long time ago. Right?
Yeah. Get off it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I wonder sometimes like an extra sensitive sense of smell in a human being, what that's about. Smelling seasons in the air,
well,
smelling.
they, I think the language is it's atavistic, meaning it's an ancient program where that was important for our survival. That
Or trauma
the wind,
response.
no, that the wind would tell us things,
But it
and
does.
it's like yeah, like five elements in Kung Fu or in China. Every element is capable of telling you something because it carries information. So the river carries information, the earth does, right? It's that's what I was doing with the those Russian scientists is a long time ago I said, you know, that everything has a signature and if you put out the right signature, you can get a response, okay, like an echo.
Resonance. When you're in
Yeah.
resonance with something.
So, yeah. So then they had this scientist come up with all this crap out in LA to detect tunnels coming into the United States. They paid him a lot of money. And anyway, I got somebody egged me on to contact him. And I contacted him and I said, I heard about, kind of like the work you're doing. Oh, great. Yeah. And I go, so you're just using quantum resonance where you fire off a frequency related to an element and be able to get the response from it because you're field capturing it. He goes, how did you steal my research? And I'm like, I didn't steal your research. I just took a look at what you're doing, right? And that's why we say there's no secrets. All that information's out there. Anyway, then he wanted to talk to him because I was telling him how to improve it. So anyway, you can find things in the earth because the earth will tell you where they are, right? How's that?
Right, without one of those weird metal detector stick things that people bring to the beach.
Yeah.
Although I suppose that makes it easier or faster. I don't think, it doesn't matter how developed AI gets, it'll never have a sense of smell, I don't think.
No.
And it'll
See, that's the problem. It can tell you parts per million of any particular organic or inorganic compound, and then it can go to a database and tell you what that is, but it can't, in what we would say, intuit that information, right? In other words, it has to
right.
go through process. Now it's really fast at it, but never as fast as a human can come up with it. What we call in motion, a human in motion. So
Well, that's been beaten out of us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why it's vastly entertaining to go out in the world with what I call open eyes,
Mm.
open ears, open.
Open eyes, open ears, but close them brackets, baby, because otherwise,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, woof,
Yeah.
woof,
It's
woof.
It's like my fruit trees out back. They're blooming. I think they're early because there'll be another frost. But
Mm.
the energy field around them right now is about 200 feet. And you generally got to find a superstar that has that kind of an energy field, or a baby that's just
I was
been
just
born.
gonna say, or a really happy baby.
Yeah, yeah. So that energy field's there, and you walk by it, but you're not sensitive enough to pick it up, but let alone to communicate, right? So,
You know
walk
what?
by walk by a tree and try this one. I love you. I think you're beautiful. You're such a good boy.
Hello, beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. They will talk to you. I
I
promise
see you.
you. Yeah. So,
You know, I always talk to my trees when I water them and tell them I hope this isn't too abrupt or the water flows not too much because I've got apple trees in the shower and an aloe vera in the shower over there and two orchid plants.
yeah.
And they all just,
Well, yeah. Well, that's why when I studied with Marcel Vogel and the Peter Thompson Secret Life Plants, that was the primary teaching in those 3 years was that you can learn to listen. You
yeah.
can ask questions, and those plants and animals will respond, you know. And of course, science can't figure that out, so therefore it's all hokey pokey, whatever you want to call it, hocus pocus. Yeah.
Well, hokey pokey, I'll tell you, you take this Marcel Vogel cut crystal and poke somebody with it, they'll bleed. This is sharp. It's so sharp,
Yeah.
very sharp. And then I made the mistake of, I have a big one that was very expensive, and I was sleeping with it under my pillow, and then it fell behind my bed, and
Yeah.
so
Don't sleep with crystals. That's two time.
yeah, well, I figured that out. So I just keep it in its little nice little soft package, and when I feel like it wants to talk to me, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, most people that are not sensitive enough to figure out which direction is north seem to have a fascination with crystals that um, is one-way communication on their part. I'll put it that way so I can make enough people mad tonight.
there's north is that way, south is that way, and there's east and west. I know
Yeah.
that. Like I just know. I don't know. And it has nothing to do with the west side, east side, uptown and downtown. Manhattan is not north, south, east,
No,
west.
no,
It's not. It's
you have to know your way. You have to know your directions.
and at the
I,
very
I
least,
laugh because all this is covered in The Last Airbender,
mm,
but The Last Waterbender, The Last Earthbender, Last Firebender. See, there were others out there. And each one of them has a particular body of knowledge where you become interactive and communicative with that element, not just, hey, there's a fire, there's a water, there's the air, or whatever. So,
you know what? That's why there were people who said, I cannot go any further in the Palisades fire and said we need to turn back. And there are
yeah.
special fire crews that
Yeah.
know how to read fires that they hire, and they will
Mhm.
tell you, do not go in there because that is a bad fire. It will kill you for sure. There's nothing.
Right, right.
Just don't,
Yep,
you
it's
know?
true. It's true.
They
Okay.
do. They do.
Yeah.
So I was watching a YouTube today, sort of it was in the background, but then I realized it was Lynn Buchanan. Um, did you ever have any crisscross with him? You ever have any
Uh,
events with
the
him?
name's familiar, but I don't
Yeah.
remember.
No? Okay. Yeah, he was one of the remote viewers. He knew Ingo Swann. He was one of those guys.
Yeah.
One of the OG original remote viewers. So I don't know.
I'll tell you a high trick about remote viewers is I'm here and it's there,
Mm,
right? And what's this? If you can attain avatar status, okay,
hmm.
this is part of that dream work program that I've taught. It's that you can assume uh, the reality that you're looking at. You can have presence there greater than just the lens of the mind, let's call it, or the little screen that's across your forehead, right?
Bilocation is the word that's popping into my
Oh
head.
yeah, yeah. We used to practice that to some degree. But anyway, it's like physical bilocation that requires a lot of work, but you can bilocate and literally be sitting next to the person you're trying to remote view. And that's why I laugh at a lot of remote viewers because nothing is remote, right? There's no distance between here and there. And so it's kind of like if you want the information, go sit down next to that person, place, or thing. And remember, back to Native Americans, you sit with it till it tells you what the hell's going on. And you can hold three-way conversations between people that are asking you questions and the target or whatever you're asking. And that's what I do. Uh, I learned it by working with pregnant women because the babies will tell you all kinds of things. And right. And the mother's like, well, what about? And I go, look, I'm having a three-way conversation. Wait your turn.
You know what? That should
Because,
actually be another book because
yeah,
it would almost be like, I don't know. I think that would sell conversations with
yeah.
baby.
And I've had babies like, what are you going to name the child? And they go, what? They name a name. And I go, oh, no, she ain't going for that. So you're going to have to come up with a different one. Anyway, it's pretty funny because you're dealing with what we call an extant consciousness. It's there, it's available. Your inability to communicate is not its problem. So it's
It's
this,
your problem. That's right.
yeah,
And if you want to learn how to communicate, then you best start shedding all of the
yeah,
CNN and all that others. That's just completely irrelevant and juxtaposed and antithetical probably to you getting anywhere in the feeling into the zone. Like it's
yeah.
not going to help
That's
you.
true.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the best fun in the world because, like, I had a guy call me today, and he's under electronic attack. It's a whole program DARPA or somebody came up with at some point. And I have other clients that hear voices all the time and are continually harassed, we'll say electromagnetically. I first came across somebody back in the 90s, and now I have one client for about 8 years. I've been working to kick it out. I mean, stop the program. And this guy calls me and says, well, I know hundreds and thousands of people that have this. And I go, well, I have a lot of experience with it, but not a lot of people, the diversity of it. So
Mm.
I'm going to learn from you while we go through it. But I was able to get it shut down on him today. And I did it by just a continuous interrogation of everything going on with him. And when it started and the intensity and all the, receptors and all this kind of stuff that can come into play where somebody is screwing with your signature. That's what it amounts to. That's why we want Leanne to be Leanne, right? We don't
Right.
want anybody messing with that, right? So,
No. That's why we like Randy being Randy and Vanna
yeah.
being Vanna and
Yeah.
all of that. All of that.
So all of this is occurring over in what we would call a dream state status or
Mm.
areas that are non-daytime. That's one way to look at it. Uh, we don't have to be
Makes
limited.
sense.
Don't have to be dark, right? Dark.
No, it doesn't have to be dark and it doesn't have to be dark
Yeah.
in
We
all
didn't.
the connotations.
Yeah.
It don't gotta be dark.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's all a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with this, you know.
I enjoy talking about this stuff as well, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know what Mama Cass said? Dream a little dream of me. So there you
okay.
go.
So what dreams may come. So many movies. Like
Oh
if you
yeah.
want to go down that road,
Yeah.
so many movies, so little time. Mm.
I think we could come up with some good ones. All right.
Videodrome was kind of interesting. I don't know if you remember that one. I watched that a couple times when I was younger. Yeek.
Yeah, I like what that AI thing said for you to get back in the game, you know.
You
A lot
know,
of people want to play, right? But only if you want to play. Right?
that
Yeah.
reminds me what the AI said. I actually do want to keep prompting it and asking it more questions because it's not like I'm making it write a book for me. This is not I mean, it is creative. Thinking out of the box is creative, but if I can use a neutral brain that thinks faster than I do, and can see all the angles even better than I can. I mean, I feel like people who have a good instinct, right? But just can't figure out what the mechanism is to trip whatever, then you can ask AI what the mechanism to trip whatever it is, give it a list of what you have, and then ask what you would do with all of that to trip the mechanism to get it to float.
Okay. If it was true AI, when you ask that question, it would say, here's the phone number, call this person tomorrow at 10:12, and they will answer the phone and they will engage with you in a way that is productive and to your benefit. Now, see, you can't do that with an AI right now.
If
All
AI
right.
were sentient, then it could do that
Yeah,
maybe,
it
but
could
it's
do that
not.
because theoretically it would have access to the information and be able to play, what's that thing? Swipe right, swipe left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, the match game, right? So, and who the hell ever matches an algorithm? You, the one for me, baby, you know? I mean, because it's a product of science and it can't come up with the subtle.
Well,
The
and what's even worse is human beings change their mind. So the wind blows and like you like chocolate one day and that's what the algorithms, oh, she likes chocolate until you decide
Right.
you like coconut and chocolate is the devil and then it's all up on its ass. So it
Uh,
doesn't know women. And it's our prerogative to change our mind, apparently, someone said. So AI and women could meow AI up, but good. That's all I'm
yeah.
saying.
Well, and about 25 years ago, I started talking about the different dimensions of compatibility. And
Mm.
we can measure physical, mental, emotional. We go down the whole list. And so I would talk about that, and Match.com came up with 26 dimensions of compatibility. I was so mad because they can't do what I do, which is calibrate what is the balance between two people, right?
No, because theirs is data and it's not emotional.
Yeah, yeah.
Yours is
They
organic and
they cannot interrogate both sides to come up with an answer. So when we say I love you 1 to 10, you love me 1 to 10, now we're talking communication. Because if I love you a 1, you love me a 10, that's stalking.
mismatch. Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And so we all want some sort of balance in that. And, too much is like too much, so too little is too little. And then you're going to go wander off to try to find somebody that's matchy matchy to you.
You know what? My animals are good matchy matchy to me, and so is nature.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with that. I can
yeah,
honestly say, you know, and if
yeah,
ever somebody crosses my path that happens to be human and compatible, so be it.
yeah. Yeah, those people we can enjoy their company, right?
Correct.
Well, without any kind of demands, we'll say.
Well, and that said, I enjoy your company, like and I'm glad we do this every week. I have a
Remotely,
whole bunch of fun.
remote.
I'm really grateful that we do this every week.
Yeah. Oh no, this is big fun because these are all things that, to me, people should have at least a knowledge of if they don't have an understanding, because understanding is available to them if they just practice some of these different things.
Right.
So
Well, ignorance can be fixed.
yeah,
Just got to be willing to listen and open your
yeah,
mind, like
yeah,
John Lennon said.
yeah. Communication is two-way, and if aliens can only communicate with probes and tissues and things like that, bodily fluids, I mean, like, you know,
So limited.
isn't there some other planet you can go to? Yeah.
Oh
You,
man.
why are you stuck on this one? You know, you can do better, right?
Well, they heard the name Goldilocks and figured she got it just right, so they had to come and see.
Um,
They had to come to the zone and check it out or something.
carbon-based life forms. Imagine that.
Well, when a hydrogen life form or some kind of a sulfuric
Oh yeah,
life form decides to show up,
yeah. What are you going to tell your mama when you bring them to dinner?
you got to wear a mask, but not for the same reasons about the pandemic. You're
Yeah,
gonna want to wear a mask.
yeah.
Ew.
And then
That's
there's
not body odor.
yeah. Anyway, big fun.
Okay. Well, enjoy your week. I'll see you next week.
Oh yeah. Let's just remember, bomb Iran, right?
Bum,
That's all you got to remember.
bum, bum. Every day. Oh, oh, oh. There was some fake pictures of Iran that were being shown on the news, and it turns out that it was some Chinese company that used AI to fake whatever it was. So the news finally admitted that the pictures that we're seeing about
Oh
Iran
yeah,
being, they finally
yeah,
they said it out loud though. Like
yeah,
I didn't expect the news to admit it. Even in
yeah,
the way they had to admit it, like, oh, it's the Chinese doing it. Like we don't do it too.
yeah. You know, in Starship Troopers, for instance,
Like
documentary.
that guy out my
That
window.
well, did you notice that they would interview the soldiers and stuff before and after and during combat, right?
I'll have to watch it.
This is a video war. There's been no interviews of anybody in the military that's in the action at this time. It's a video war, right? Wag the dog, right? Wag the dog.
Information war, video war,
Yeah,
perception war.
yeah.
Who can make the most people believe what their story is
It's
when,
who can make the most money. That's all it is. Okay.
well, they
And
should send us
boy,
some.
are we having fun now, right?
I'm gonna put my Venmo on here and maybe people can send me money. Like if they're gonna send
Yeah,
money for taxes, they should just pay us.
yeah.
I'm gonna put my Venmo, pay us money. I need
Send
lots.
money, send us money, and we will support the war. How's
You know what? Send me $25,000 by next week. If we could get 25 people to
that?
send $1,000, 50 people to send $500, you
Yeah,
know, if all of our viewers sent me $500, I'll pay you
yeah,
back with interest, but it would help me
yeah,
out. Okay,
yeah.
bye.
We call it brazen begging. Like we don't require you to go shop and buy this or that.
No,
Just
just send me money.
just send money, and then you don't have to listen to like this is financial, not financial advice, but you can join tomorrow and you can buy gold at a discount and you can I don't know what the hell all,
I'd
right?
rather watch Leanne make coconut cake. It's in the refrigerator cooling off right now.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
is. And I
I,
had four
oh,
egg yolks left over, and I said, there's another AI I didn't want to think, what can I do with four egg yolks? And then the word custard popped up, and I thought, oh, yes. So I made a vanilla
okay.
coconut custard to go with the coconut cake and the coconut shredded
And
coconut on the
and cream,
top.
cream brulee. Like, oh my.
Yeah, that might be next time.
Yeah.
So my neighbor downstairs, this little 6-year-old,
Yeah.
he thinks I'm a good baker, so
Yeah.
I just keep
There you
bringing
go.
him food because I
Yeah.
can't really eat it. But
Okay, bye.
okay, bye. That's enough.